Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I am your host, Tom Downey. Here with some more Cowboys rumors. First up, is Tyrone Crawford okay? Well, good news here, this is 4 stars. Crawford's going to be just fine. Now, he did suffer a very scary neck injury against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Crawford is going to be okay. He was already back around the team on Monday. There's nothing to be concerned about for his long-term health. He avoided serious injury there. Back with the team, he'll undergo some more tests, and he's not going to practice today, Wednesday, for the Cowboys. And I doubt he plays this week, but he'll be okay. That's a very good sign there for the Cowboys. Now, D-line depth chart is a very key factor here for the Cowboys. Assuming Crawford does miss time, Randy Gregory's your next man up. We'll see if Taco Charlton gets some chances to play there. But Crawford, I doubt he plays this week. And frankly, why bother putting him out there? There's really no point to it. It's a meaningless game in all reality. Don't risk a further injury there. I think you'll see plenty of Randy Gregory, plenty of Dorrance Armstrong, and maybe even some more of Taco Charlton, who did play last week after being inactive for several games in a row. All right, next up, CJ Goodwin. Has he been activated? 4 stars on this one. We told you guys last week how the Cowboys were planning to bring him back and get him back on the field after and returning him from IR. 4 stars here. He is going to be activated. In fact, has been activated. Now, to clear space for Goodwin, the Cowboys have cut Lance Lenoir. So Goodwin brings you more depth at the cornerback spot, which is key because now Anthony Brown is still battling some of those back spasms there. And it's a good sign there for the Cowboys to get Goodwin back on the field and all that jazz, which in particular, it's going to be special teams. That is where Goodwin is going to make his biggest impact. So Lance Lenoir has been cut. The Cowboys hope he's going to get on the practice squad. That's the main goal there for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see if that ends up happening. All right, folks, subscribe to us on YouTube for special content, news, rumors, highlights, and some great fan-led stuff like our mailbag and our fan rumors coming up later this week. Head over to youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. Hit that button there to subscribe, and go check out the community tab, too, if you want to get involved on the show for the fan rumors. All right, next up on our Cowboys Rumors Roundup, Tavon Austin. Is he set to return to the Cowboys? I'll keep it at 2 stars. We'll see what happens on that one. I hope he's going to come back. If I had to guess right now, I would think that Tavon makes his return. But remember, that groin injury that he suffered back in Week 6, that was pretty severe. That was not this is just a little minor groin strain. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. They considered surgery for it. They almost put him on IR. So maybe now in Week 17, he can finally make his return. And I want him out there in particular for returns. Cole Beasley, great hands guy, not done a great job when it comes to the punt return side of things, and kick returns have been a non-factor all year with Lance Lenoir no longer on the roster. Not that he was even making much of an impact in terms of the actual offense. Maybe Tavon can take his role on returns, or I should say special teams. Hopefully he comes back, but we'll see what happens on that one. All right, next up, will the Cowboys not rest their players in Week 17? If you listen only to Jerry Jones and only to Jason Garrett, they'll tell you, yeah, we're going to play this like a real game. I'm going to give it 2 stars. I think, you guys know the Jennifer Lawrence gift where she goes, sure? That's kind of my response to this. I don't know if the Cowboys are actually going to do it. So we'll start things off with that card here about what the Cowboys will or won't they rest their players. We'll ask you, should Dallas sit or start key players in Week 17? Type 1 for start, type 2 for sit. Back to some of the notes on it, though. Look, the Cowboys have publicly said they wouldn't rest their players. And Garrett said, though, injured players won't suit up. Now, there's a difference between being injured and being hurt. And you can group a lot of players in that injured category. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. We'll get to Ezekiel Elliott later, but Ezekiel Elliott also fits that mold. It's the rest versus rust debate. But some of these guys need some rest. I'll give it 2 stars. You could see a scenario where the Cowboys, like they did last time and they had a meaningless game in Week 17, sit some of the key guys after the first couple drives, like when Zeke got 0 touches. I say sit him. Because you don't want to play Zach Martin. He's banged up. You probably don't want to play Tyron Smith. At that point, you're down 2 of your best offensive linemen. Do you want to put Dak and Zeke Elliott back there for an entire game? I don't think so. So maybe give them a couple of drives, almost like a preseason game, which is what this basically is for the Cowboys. But they should not play every single snap. The risk of injury is simply not worth it. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120. then sign up and deposit. Once you do that, DM us on Twitter at ChatSports. We still have a couple of Cowboys jerseys left from the holiday season. So again, use that promo code. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Then DM us on Twitter at ChatSports, and we'll get you guys hooked up with some awesome Cowboys jerseys. But do it while you still can. Not a whole lot of time left, and the jerseys have gone very, very quickly so far. All right, more Cowboys rumors next up here. Should Elliott rest in Week 17? I kind of hinted at this earlier. I'm giving it 4 stars. Look, Ezekiel Elliott has had an incredibly large workload so far this season. Does Zeke Elliott need more work? Are we really worried that if you don't give Elliott 20 carries, all of a sudden he's going to be rusty? It's basically a bye week, which typically you actually want your NFL team to have. Look, he leads the NFL with 381 touches, 50 more than anybody else, more than Saquon Barkley. No one's going to catch him this week. Zeke is going to have the biggest workload in the NFL, and that's going to come despite him sitting out, I hope, Week 17. Look, Elliott has probably gotten too much work the past month and a half, so I'll ask you, what should the Cowboys do with Zeke in Week 17? Type P for play, R for rest, just rest him. And I say this, by the way, as a Zeke Elliott fantasy owner in my Week 17 championship game. Don't play Zeke Elliott. It doesn't make enough sense there. The risk of injury is far too great. If Zeke goes down, that Cowboys team, I do not trust them at all. All right, folks, again, you're watching the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the Internet's #1 sportsbook. Our next Cowboys rumor here is Zeke going to win the rushing title. We'll give this one 4 stars here. Maybe it's almost like 3.5, 3.59, but whatever. I'm giving it 4 stars. Zeke is all but assured and locked in. He has a 183-yard lead over Todd Gurley. And Gurley, by the way, might not play in Week 17. He's going to win the rushing title, regardless, I think, of what Gurley does. The next best man is Saquon Barkley, and he is vastly behind. He is almost at 1,200. He'll play in Week 17. He might have a good game against the Cowboys if they do sit some of their key players, but he's not going to rush for over 230 yards. That's not going to happen. So Zeke, barring Gurley playing Week 17, which the Rams seem content to sit out most of their key players, or at least will consider it, that's not going to be an issue there. Zeke, I have every expectation, barring the world's biggest upset, he is going to be the rushing yards leader. Now, what he might not end up being is the scrimmage yards leader. By the way, go check the tape from the beginning of the year. I told you guys, and many of you agreed, and not a huge surprise there, that Zeke was going to have 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Well, he's hit that number 2,001. Christian McCaffrey, 1,125. He might catch him. You could see Saquon do it, but I think that's a little bit more unlikely. So Zeke may or may not be your NFL scrimmage yards leader when it's all said and done, but he is going to win another rushing title this year. So I'll ask you, is Zeke the Cowboys MVP? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Without Zeke, this Cowboys team is in big, big trouble. You can throw out some defensive guys like a DeMarcus Lawrence, a Jalen Smith, a Leighton Van Der Esch, or an offensive guy like Zach Martin. But if you think Zeke is the Cowboys MVP, you're not going to hear too much debate from me. Maybe I'd vote for Zach Martin because I do love my offensive line play, but Zeke is definitely worthy of that title. All right, some more Cowboys rumors. Has Jason Garrett saved his job? Well, I'll give it 3 stars as we have for the entire time, and the narrative really hasn't changed yet. Garrett entered the year in a playoffs or bust position. If the Cowboys missed the playoffs, his job, I think, was gone, barring some exceptions like injuries to Dak and Zeke and everybody else. And the Cowboys have made the playoffs, but his job is still not quite 100% safe yet. A bad playoff showing could mean change. Could be an offensive coordinator change, I hope. Could mean a coaching staff change across the board. Maybe Garrett gets fired. If the Cowboys lay an egg, I'm talking like a Colts-type egg, against the Seattle Seahawks, then you could still see Jason Garrett be fired, which I'm sure many of you would be happy with. So we do have some BetDSI odds here on if Jason Garrett will be the Cowboys head coach in 2019. Yes is the favorite, minus 180. That makes him the betting favorite to be the Cowboys head coach in 2019. Plus 125 for no. I bet more towards the yes. Unfortunately, I felt good about my Lincoln Riley bet earlier this year after the Titans game. That one's not going to come true. So I do think you'll see, again, barring a really embarrassing collapse, Garrett being the Cowboys head coach in 2019. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Go check them out, chatsports.com/bet, and then use promo code Cowboys120. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. So you put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free. And then DM us on Twitter at chatsports. We'll get you guys hooked up with a Cowboys jersey, some Dak, some ZEKE, a couple others still left. Not that many left, so get in while you still can. Use that promo code Cowboys120 at chatsports.com/bet. Then DM us on Twitter at chatsports for the deal. All right, a few more Cowboys rumors left here. I know many of you asked about them, so we'll break this down now. Did the Cowboys not want DJ Swearinger, recently cut by the Washington Redskins? I'm going to give this one 4 stars. The Cowboys did not put in a waiver claim for Swearinger. Not that it really would have mattered. The Cardinals, who have the #1 priority, they put in a claim. They got him instantly. It wouldn't have mattered. They have the top priority, much like your fantasy waiver wire. So 4 stars on that one. And Swearinger was cut after he criticized the Redskins coaching staff, The Cowboys, I think, didn't really like that too much, which makes sense. Given what happened with guys like Des Bryant, for example. I think they were about his price overall and his salary, and I think they feel okay about Jeff, Heath, Woods, and Frazier, but that'll change, I think, in the offseason. So in the end, no, the Cowboys did not want DJ Swearinger. All right, folks, if you didn't get what you want for Christmas this year, how about a Mizzen and Main shirt? Comfortable.af is the site. Go check them out. It is the best dress shirt out there. Heck, it's the best shirt out there. It's the most comfortable one as well. Again, Mizzen and Main, they make the best damn dress shirt out there. Comfortable.af is the site. All right, one last Cowboy rumor for you guys, and it's the Cowboys will win a playoff game. I'm going to give this one 3 stars, and I said this last week, and I still feel pretty confident about the Cowboys' chances to win a playoff game this year. Now, not 4. We'll stick with 3 there. Colin Cowherd actually agreed. The Cowboys, they will face either the Seattle Seahawks or the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Seattle did beat Dallas, and they've played very well as of late. The Vikings have gotten back on track with a coaching change, getting rid of John DeFilippo as their OC. But the Cowboys are 7-1 at home this year. The one big problem that could sink this Cowboys team, and you guys know what it is by now, is that damn red zone offense. If it doesn't get better, this drops down to more like 1 or 2 stars. But I feel good about the Cowboys winning a playoff game. What do you think? Type 1 for yes, type 0 for, 0, not winning any games. I think they'll pull it off. We'll see what ends up happening, but I think this Cowboys team, with the defense and being at home, I think it'll be enough for them to actually find a way to win a playoff game this season. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.